Disclaimer, I'm about to talk about The Odyssey, the book, and Christopher Nolan's Odyssey movie. If you have not seen it yet, or if you do not want spoilers, just go ahead and stop this, save it for when you're done with both or either to hear my thoughts. So, I finished reading The Odyssey a day before seeing Christopher Nolan's Odyssey last night, and I'm really glad that I did. My experience with Greek mythology is pretty much non existent. I don't know. I was born and raised in Hawaii, so maybe instead of hearing about Greek gods, we just focused on Hawaiian gods. Maybe that's why that worked out. But I feel like I have the most minute knowledge or care about Greek mythology until I read Song of Achilles, which I was like, well, now I love Greek mythology and this is historically accurate, obviously. Of course, I wasn't thinking that I was going to love the movie more than I liked the book. I really enjoyed the book. To clarify, I did read Samuel Butler's translation. I am going to go back and read the other translations just because I'm curious of what that looks like. The translation of text just really interests me, so I'm going to go in so I can see what the differences are. And plus, I don't mind rereading the story because it was awesome. Anywho, so I knew that I wasn't going to go in loving the movie more than the book. That just doesn't happen, at least for me. If you can think of a time where you actually enjoyed a movie more than a book, please tell me what that was down below because I'm very interested. With a book, you just have a lot more time to get into the full details. You can flesh out everything. You're taking your time, and it usually takes between, I don't know, 6 to 10 hours to tell the tale. In a movie, it's visually gripping, of course, but you're going to lose a lot of things on the cutting room table because you have max 3 hours to tell this tale of epic proportions, pun intended. I did not expect a one-to-one translation of the actual text in Nolan's film. I went into it kind of the way that I did with Butler's translation, which is this is his translation. The Odyssey, Nolan's version. No, I didn't watch it in 70 mil like Nolan intended. Apologies, but I did watch it in Dolby Cinematic. Let me tell you though, the reason I did not do IMAX is because the chairs in IMAX are gross. They're just like regular like auditorium chairs. If you go to Dolby Cinema, you have the reclining chairs. Hello, I'm going to recline and relax if I'm actually in a theater. I don't go and watch a lot of movies, so I want to make sure I'm comfortable and that I have a good time. Hello. I went in just, hey, this is Nolan's translation of how this story went. I feel like it really made me appreciate the movie for what it was instead of being really hung up on things within the book. But with that said, I did not really care for the movie. I was super psyched to watch it, which is why I read The Odyssey. This is the first book I actually annotated, by the way, if you can see that. But I read this in about 5 days. It's like only 300 pages, but it took me forever to get through. But it was gripping. I was enthralled. I rated a 4 out of 5. The movie, I would rate a 3 out of 5, or maybe a 3.5 out of 5. And here's why. There were some things that were super fucking cool in the movie that I really enjoyed seeing translated on screen. But there were some moments that took me out of the world and that made me feel like I was watching a movie, like a low budget movie. I don't know if that makes sense and if I was the only one with that feeling, but here are my gripes. We'll go with the gripes first and then we'll go with what I really enjoyed. So, what I did not like, it was laughable that Travis Scott was in the movie. I can't take this person seriously. This guy was the bard? Like, that's odd. I guess that's cool as like pop culture reference, but I think if it was just someone else that was not so famous for being a rapper, that I would have taken that a little more seriously. These are all just my opinions. I'm not going to keep saying that. So you may or may not agree with me, and I love healthy discourse, so let's do it. But the first thing is Travis Scott being the bard in Ithaca. That just took me out of the scene. Like, why is he there? Why is Travis Scott acting? I don't understand. Is this to like appease a certain generation? Why was he cast in this role? You could have literally cast anyone on the street, and they would have been really happy to have this role. Just saying. Second, and I love this man, I want to preface, but John Leguizamo, what? With the cataract eye, that was really weird. He did not fit in his role as Eumaeus. That did not work for me at all. All I saw was, I don't even know his name, but his character from Spawn, and also him as the pest. Seeing him in this like serious role, it just didn't work. And any scene with him I hated because I was like, this does not feel authentic at all. So again, I feel like they would have just cast a nobody for this. Be in the world of the Odyssey. Third, and I love you and I love your wife, but Tom Holland as Telemachus, get real. Did not engross himself in the role at all. And honestly, Robert Pattinson, I mean, he's great. I love him, but he also wasn't great in the role. So the biggest issue for me was how many stars were in the Odyssey who just could not, for whatever reason, engross themselves into the role and let everything else fall away to where I'm just in the world of the Odyssey. I just think that the movie would have fared better if they just cast unknowns for the majority of the roles. I think it would have just played off a lot cooler. The CGI and like the setting and the actual visuals were amazing. Like that, beautiful, stunning. I loved it. Casting has been like a really hot button with the Odyssey. Himesh Patel as Eurylochus, bad casting. Didn't like. Travis Scott as the Bard. John Leguizamo, that was just odd. Casting that I loved, that I didn't think that I would. I thought that Matt Damon as Odysseus was going to be a train wreck, but holy shit, can that man act? Hello, he was amazing. He carried that entire film, him and Anne Hathaway. As Penelope, she slapped. She ate Anne Hathaway, and I don't even like Anne Hathaway, and she ate in that movie. Something that was really funny that I saw after the fact was I just really wanted to know who Agamemnon was. And it was Benny Safdie this whole time because they didn't really show his face. But man, that was cool. That was really cool. My boy John Berthenol, is that his name? Berthenol? Whatever, that's his name now. The Punisher guy, Shane, Shane from Walking Dead was Menelaus, and that was awesome as well. Loved him. Helen of Troy, beautiful, stunning. Sinan, beautiful, stunning. Go off, Elliot Page. So that was my feelings. So here are my other critiques because all I do is fucking complain about shit. I wish the gods were more involved in the story. I feel like he should have gone down that fantasy lane harder because the scenes with Cyclops, with Circe, with the giants, any scene that contained fantastical elements was amazing, was beautiful to watch. But hey, I get it. This is not fucking Hercules made by Disney. That's fine. But we're talking about gripes here. Some inaccuracies. Odysseus didn't forget about his wife, his son, or his country of Ithaca when he was with Calypso. He knew that he was trapped there with her, and he was upset and crying every day for 7 years. In the movie, he was eating lotus flower with her. That's not how it went in the story. I had a gripe with that. It was very difficult for me to get over, but again, I was trying to go in with the mindset of this is his translation and he only has 3 hours to tell this, so this is where he went. But I feel like that made the story completely different, which for better or worse, whatever, but I love when things stick traditionally to the source material for the most part, but I can still appreciate it. It turned the story into purely a guy trying to get back home into war-torn veteran doesn't really want to go home because of all the traumas of war. That's not the Odyssey. Maybe don't even call it the Odyssey, because in the Odyssey, we don't hear about the Trojan War much, if at all, even though those were cool callbacks. Going to Hades, that was really cool. The coolest thing that they did was the Cersei scene, and I'm not going to spoil it, but that was amazing. If you enjoyed the movie, for better for worse, or if you didn't enjoy it and you liked the book more, I do have some recommendations for you. So, one, I don't have it on my shelf right now, but Song of Achilles. I call this the historically accurate version of what really happened. If you like Greek mythology, if you liked the movie Troy back in the day, if you want a beautiful story that is queer and will make you cry your eyes out, then you will read Song of Achilles. You're welcome in advance. Second, Circe. And guess what? They're by the same author. So you can read this and you can read Song of Achilles for a more historically accurate representation of what happened during the Trojan War, during the Odyssey. And that's all I got. You're welcome. Madeline Miller, she's the true narrator of what happened 3,000 years ago. Let me tell you. Did you like the book better? What did you think about the movie? What things did you really enjoy? What things did you really hate?